Pray for our family. My son, Brandon Smiley, has passed away this morning.
Because I filed for grandparent rights. And grandparent rights only give you maybe a couple of weekends out of the month. Her attorney asked her, hey, would you give him one weekend? She said no.
Going through that, losing a son and being dragged on the internet for 2 months on the 1-year anniversary of your son's death, man, if I can get through that, man, I can get through anything, man.
Rickey Smiley, known for making people laugh, recently shared heartbreaking news about his son's death.
And my brother never got over that. He never recovered from that. But whatever it was, I don't know the connection of what he looked up to Rickey. He never recovered from that.
Rickey couldn't hold back his tears while talking about it. What happened to his son? How is he dealing with this tragic time? Let's look at his emotional journey.
It's disappointing, it's hurtful, but you hurting her. I'm mad at the fact that my granddaughter is suffering.
After Brandon Smiley's sad death, his father, Rickey Smiley, faced another heartbreak. Brandon's daughter, Storm, was suddenly kept away from Rickey. Her mother decided Rickey couldn't see her anymore. Many people were shocked because Rickey always seemed like a loving grandfather. So why would she do this? What went wrong? Rickey opened up about the situation in a YouTube video. He explained that he had to file for grandparents' rights to see Storm. This means he went to court to ask for permission to visit her. Rickey believes that filing this case upset Storm's mother, and she decided to block him from seeing his granddaughter.
It's just low down when women do stuff like this to men. And there's women out here that wish anybody would step up and offer some kind of support.
Rickey shared his pain, saying, "The baby is the one suffering. Keeping her away from her family doesn't make sense." He even said he only asked to see Storm for 2 weekends a month, or even just 1 weekend. He told his fans, "It's sad, man. Life is really something else."
Grandparent rights. And grandparent rights only give you maybe a couple of weekends out of the month. Her attorney asked her, hey, would you give him 1 weekend? She said no.
Rickey has spoken about how much Storm means to him, especially after Brandon's death. Brandon passed away from a suspected drug overdose, and Storm brought him comfort during that hard time. Rickey recalled a special moment after Brandon's funeral. Storm didn't want to leave his side. To cheer her up, he took her to the playground. He said pushing her on the swing and hearing the birds in the quiet helped him feel peace on one of the hardest days of his life. "It felt like God was giving me comfort," Rickey said. But filing for grandparents' rights brought attention to Rickey's family troubles. Some wonder if the ban has to do with how Rickey handled Brandon's passing. He has shared many personal family moments publicly, which might not sit well with Storm's mother. Brandon Smiley, the son of Rickey Smiley, passed away suddenly at just 32 years old. The news was shocking because no one saw it coming. Rickey shared the heartbreaking news on social media because he didn't want gossip sites like TMZ to spread it before his family could. On the morning Brandon passed, he was supposed to go to church with his grandmother, but when she tried to call him, he didn't answer. Later, a friend found him unresponsive at home. The friend called for help, and Brandon was rushed to the hospital. Sadly, doctors couldn't save him, and he passed away within an hour.
Pray for our family. My son, Brandon Smiley, has passed away this morning. I'm about to go get on a flight and try to get to Birmingham.
The cause of Brandon's death is still a mystery. The autopsy didn't give any clear answers, but the coroner ruled out foul play. This left Brandon's family and friends with more questions than answers. Rickey was devastated. On social media, he said things like, "I've never felt this much pain in my life, and I don't know how people survive this." He asked for space and time to grieve. But just a few days later, Rickey's posts started to focus on faith. He wrote messages like, "Even in your darkest hour, God is still good," and thanked God for the time he had with Brandon. While many people found his words inspiring, some were surprised by how quickly he returned to social media. Rickey even went back to work just 2 days after Brandon's passing. He posted videos and memes online, including a joke about Taco Bell wings. Some people thought this was strange given the tragedy he had just experienced. Others felt he was coping the best way he could. In one of his posts, Rickey wrote, "I lost my oldest son this morning. I'm okay, but please pray for his mother, Brenda, his siblings, and his daughter, Storm." Losing a child is one of the hardest things a parent can go through. Rickey's way of handling his grief might not make sense to everyone, but it's clear he's leaning on faith and family to get through this tough time.
Going through that, losing a son, and being dragged on the internet for 2 months on the 1-year anniversary of your son's death, man, if I can get through that, man, I can get through anything, man. I didn't start grieving.
Many people found it strange when Rickey Smiley asked for prayers but left himself out. Most people say, "Pray for my family," not "Pray for everyone but me." This made some question if he was really being sincere. Rickey talked about trying to be a good father, saying, "I tried to be the best dad I could be." But it seems his relationship with his son Brandon was far from perfect. He was known for using a tough love approach, which made things hard between them. Reports say Rickey was very strict, and he and Brandon often argued, even when Brandon was younger. Some people say Rickey stopped giving Brandon financial help and didn't support his career. At the time of Brandon's death, he was living in a rough neighborhood, even though his dad is a wealthy celebrity. Many felt this wasn't fair. Brandon wasn't looking for a free ride, but could have used some support. This isn't the first time Rickey's parenting style has been criticized. In 2021, Rickey had a disagreement with his nephew about cutting his dreadlocks for a job. Rickey claimed the haircut was needed for a 6-figure salary, even though it wasn't actually required. He pressured his nephew, who refused, and Rickey went on a public rant about it. The argument became a hot topic online. Rickey's no-nonsense attitude led to debates about personal choice and family dynamics. One person commented, "Why be upset about the dreads instead of being upset with a world that sees black hair as unprofessional?" Older folks sometimes don't realize they're supporting the same systems that have oppressed us.
Rickey Smiley, give it up.
Not long ago, a tragic event shook Rickey's family. His nephew, who looked up to him a lot, sadly passed away by suicide. It was reported that he overdosed on pills. Before this happened, some people online were already talking about Rickey's behavior toward his nephew.
And my brother never got over that. He never recovered from that. But whatever it was, I don't know the connection of what he looked up to Rickey. He never.
One person wrote, "Oh, the job didn't require him to cut his dreads. Rickey did. It's not the same, sorry." Another said, "You called his family the Rat Pack and devalued him for having locks. You're part of the problem, not him." After the tragedy, the nephew's sister shared her heartbreak on Facebook. She directly blamed Rickey for putting too much pressure on her brother. She said Rickey had high expectations and criticized him a lot, which made him feel like he couldn't live up to what he wanted. Rickey later posted a video to respond to these claims. He defended himself by showing messages he had with his nephew and talked about other people he helped in life. But some viewers didn't like how he handled it. They felt he was using private family moments to make himself look better. This isn't the first time people have questioned Rickey's behavior. Comedian Steve Brown also shared his own struggles with Rickey. Steve said he was loyal to Rickey early in his comedy career, even being his opening act. He trusted Rickey to help him grow in the comedy world. But instead, Steve said he lost everything. The work dried up and he ended up homeless with his young son.
Because I was burned early in my career, I was clicked up with a very well-known comic, as we know, and I was like really grateful and loyal to him because he got me in the business.
Steve Brown felt deeply hurt and disappointed. He says Rickey Smiley didn't care about the problems his actions, or lack of action, caused. Instead of helping or showing concern, Steve says Rickey acted like it wasn't his problem at all. But that's not all. Steve claims Rickey stole one of his original comedy ideas and used it in his own show. For Steve, this wasn't just a small issue, it was a huge betrayal. Imagine working hard on something special, only for someone else to take it, get all the credit, and make the money. Steve says this wasn't just unfair, it nearly ruined his career in comedy.
To make a long story short, behind this guy, me being loyal to him and me depending on him to get me shows because I was his opener, I ended up homeless with me and my oldest.
Steve isn't alone in his feelings. Other people who worked with Rickey have spoken up too. They say working with him was miserable. Some accuse him of creating a toxic work environment where disrespect and mistreatment were common. While these claims haven't been officially proven, they paint a bad picture of Rickey behind the scenes. What makes this worse is that Rickey's public image is so different. He talks about helping others and giving back, but Steve and others say that's not the real Rickey. They say he's more focused on helping himself and doesn't care about leaving others behind. Despite all this, Steve has moved on. He says he now treats other comedians as co-workers, not friends. This helps him avoid getting hurt again.
Son. So that taught me a valuable lesson, so now I just look at comics as constituents and just...
Rickey also faced more trouble recently. He made a joke on his radio show that many people found offensive. The joke targeted dark-skinned women using harmful stereotypes. It caused outrage, with many calling him out for colorism. The situation has made people question Rickey's real character. Is he the caring man he claims to be, or is there another side to him?
And there's a lot of young men and a lot of young women. Black is just not attracted to some of the stuff that they see at their school that the black kids do.
Now, this joke wasn't just a bad joke. It reminded us that society still judges people based on their skin color. He tried to make things better by joking about his own darker skin. He probably thought it would show he understood the issue, but it didn't. People said it showed that he might have internalized some of the same biases that hurt others. Even if Rickey has dark skin, the way he joked about it showed how deep these prejudices run in society. Things got worse when Rickey's own son said that he could never date a black woman. This shocked a lot of people because it felt like another sign of how deep colorism goes, even in families. But that wasn't the end of the story.
He explained it to me, just like a lot of little black young men that go to that same school or schools like that. Who fighting at the school?
A woman who used to date Rickey came forward with an open letter where she shared some serious things about their relationship. She said she met Rickey in 2014 at his radio station. At first, she thought he was kind and charming, but later she saw a different side of him. She said Rickey could be emotionally controlling, changing from being loving to insulting her. It got so bad that she moved out of his house just months after moving in. One of the most serious things she shared was about an argument in 2016. She said she went to Rickey's apartment, but he told her to leave because he had company. She felt hurt and confronted him, and the argument turned physical. She slapped him, and soon after, she called the police. Rickey apologized, but she said he later made strange comments about the incident, even calling it a turn-on, which made her feel uncomfortable.
I don't be having no beef with no ex-girlfriend. I'm nice to everybody now. We ain't got to hate each other because we broke up.
She accused Rickey of spreading bad rumors about her to his friends, family, and co-workers. Even though she was hurt by all of this, she admitted that she still had feelings for him. However, she felt that Rickey didn't know how to treat women with respect. She also talked about Rickey's trust issues. One time he accused her of cheating just because she had him on speakerphone while she was getting dressed. This caused a big argument and showed what she described as his paranoia and mood swings. What bothered her the most was how different Rickey's private life was compared to how he is seen in public. While the world sees him as a good person, she said he was actually manipulative and unpredictable in private. She gave him credit for his work, but said his actions didn't match the good image he showed to others. Rickey's life is full of ups and downs. He might seem like a caring person, but his personal life has many troubles. The ban from seeing his granddaughter Storm is just one of the latest signs of these issues.
Just slow down when women do stuff like this to men. And there's women out here that wish anybody would step up and offer some kind of support.
Now let's change gears and talk about his career and other tragedies he faced. Rickey Smiley, born Broderick Dornell. Smiley on August 10th, 1968, is one of America's funniest entertainers.
My grandparents were like my parents, so my great-grandparents were my grandparents. And my mom and dad was like my brother and sister.
He is a stand-up comedian, actor, radio host, and TV personality. But what makes Rickey stand out is his hilarious prank phone calls. In these calls, he changes his voice to trick people into funny conversations. These pranks have brought him lots of fans who love his sense of humor. Rickey is the host of the Rickey Smiley Morning Show, a radio program that is heard all over the country. The show started in Atlanta and airs on Hot 107.9. He also starred in a sitcom called The Rickey Smiley Show on TV1 and has been a regular on the TV show Dish Nation, where he shares his funny thoughts on celebrity news. In 2015, Rickey gave fans a closer look at his life with his reality TV show, Rickey Smiley for Real. Talking about his career. He became famous for his role as the host of BET's Comic View in 2000. But that wasn't the only place you could see him. He has also been on popular shows like Showtime, at the Apollo, HBO's Def Comedy Jam, and Uptown Comedy Club. His comedy is full of energy and creativity, often using funny characters that he plays himself. One of Rickey's most famous characters is Bernice Jenkins, also called Granny Swims, Ms. Johnson, or Mrs. Francis. Bernice Jenkins is a funny church-going older woman who often shares hilarious church announcements.
Captain Crunch for our prayer breakfast. We asking all members to bring a half a gallon of sweet milk.
She has a grandson named Rufus, who is a funny version of a modern gangsta. Rufus appears in some of Rickey's popular comedy routines like Two of My Toes Fell Off and a prank phone call to a pharmacy. Other characters like Lil Daryl.
Thank y'all for coming out to the old Lord. Hold my mule while I shout missionary Baptist Church Episcopal Church of God in Christ, brought to you by Budweiser and Hennessy.
And Rusty Dale also keep his fans laughing. In 2004, Rickey started a new chapter in his career as the morning radio host for KBFB, a station in Dallas. The show quickly became a hit because of Rickey's famous prank calls, jokes, and hip-hop music. In 2008, his show became even bigger when it went national with Syndication 1, allowing people across the country to enjoy his humor. Today, the Rickey Smiley Morning Show is heard on many radio stations and is still a fan favorite. Rickey has also made funny songs based on his comedy routines. For example, his redneck character, Buford, is featured in the song Roll Tide. Another funny hit, We Miss Robert, tells the story of a man who tries to turn a funeral rap song into a chance for a music career. These songs showcase Rickey's ability to mix comedy and music in a way that makes people laugh. Aside from comedy and radio, Rickey has acted in movies too. He appeared in Ice Cube's film Friday After Next, playing a character who brings plenty of laughs to the story. He also had a small role in All About the Benjamins as Snitch Mitch, an informant working with Ice Cube's character. Even though his role was small, it left a big impression. Rickey faced a lot of pain in his life.
It was robbing this other guy, my friend Johnny, that was at the payphone. And it was like, get up. He was like, I don't have nothing. It was like, boom, he said, now get up. They shot me to make him get up, to let him know that they were.
From losing his father to gun violence, to being shot himself, to seeing his daughter get hurt, his story shows how gun violence can leave deep scars. In a recent interview, Rickey shared a story about the night he got shot. He was at a payphone, and nearby some robbers were targeting another guy. They told the man to give up his things, but he said he had nothing. To scare him, they turned and shot Rickey instead. A sawed-off shotgun was fired at him from close range. He remembers trying to escape and almost getting hit by a car as he ran. The bullet left scars on his body, which he still has today.
And as a matter of fact, I still have them. See that right there in the elbow?
Yeah.
See those buckshots?
Yeah.
Sawed off 12 gauge, man.
Rickey was around 21 or 22 years old when this happened. He had already been on BET and Def Comedy Jam. That night, as he lay in the hospital, hooked up to tubes, he watched the famous police chase of O.J. Simpson in a white Bronco on TV. It was the same day Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were found murdered. He stayed in the hospital for weeks, scared but grateful to be alive. The man who shot Rickey was caught and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Years later, Rickey was asked to attend a parole hearing for him. At first, Rickey planned to argue against the man being released early. He felt his life had been violated, and he didn't think the shooter deserved a break. But when Rickey saw the man's mother sitting there, he realized she had also been through years of pain and struggle, visiting her son in prison. Eventually got out of prison, but tragically died in a car accident just 2 months later. Rickey has also had to deal with the pain of his daughter being shot. Gun violence struck his life again when his daughter Erin was shot during a road rage incident. Rickey was live on the air at his radio station when he got the terrifying call from Erin's mother. At first, he thought it was just an urgent matter, but then she texted him that their daughter had been shot. Rickey immediately ended his show and called to find out what happened.
I was talking over the intro, 50 Cent in the club, son. Don't, go. All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley morning show. Your daughter's been shot, and I lost it.
Erin, a straight-A student at Baylor University, was stopped at a red light when two people in cars on either side of her started shooting at each other. She was hit twice. Rickey described the fear and heartbreak he felt as a father, knowing his daughter had been caught in such a dangerous situation.
Just hope and pray that people in the community stop killing each other.
Right.
Or whatever. But until then, you have to do what you have to do to protect you and your family.
Right.
Rickey admitted that he is still in therapy to deal with all the trauma he's experienced. Losing his father at a young age, being shot himself, and now seeing his daughter go through the same thing has left deep wounds. Growing up without a father wasn't easy for Rickey.
I don't want my grandson burying me, have me up in a casket, my grandson sitting on the front row crying like I did my dad. It's not fair to him.
Right.
He knew what it was like to not have that father figure around. Most of the people I grew up with didn't have a father, Rickey said, but I had no choice. I had to do what I had to do. His words show how hard it can be when a child doesn't have a father to guide them. Despite the challenges, Rickey did his best to make it through life. Some people understood and appreciated the help he gave them, while others didn't. Rickey talked about how sometimes people can be jealous, even when you try to help them. I don't know what they're jealous of because I shared everything I had with them, he explained. This shows how difficult it can be to be generous and still face criticism. But he is using his platform to speak out about the impact of gun violence and the importance of mental health. Despite these tragedies, Rickey continues to stay strong. He uses his platform to speak about the impact of gun violence, not only on victims, but also on their families. He believes in helping others and staying positive, even when life gets tough.